My name is Angela Kontgen. I spent 17 years in pharmaceuticals with 3 different incredible companies, working with incredible people, and calling on physicians. And what I know for sure right now is that I'm being called to do work with physicians. I saw a different part of them, and they kind of let me into their world. I developed some really close relationships with them. But what's really coming out is this whole area of alive or aliveness and wanting to feel more of that in each given moment. This whole year has been about exploring who is it that I really want to work with, who am I compelled to work with. Then it really came to me, I always knew when I left the medical area as a pharmaceutical rep that I was meant to go back into that area eventually one day and do something. And I just really believe in the premise of doing the work on yourself, because if you don't do the work on yourself, you can't begin to elevate and energize others. And first of all, I fundamentally believe that it's energy, not time, that really allows you to fully live your life. We think we've got to manage our time, but really we've got to manage our energy. So we have a limited amount of time, but we actually can create boundless energy in those 4 different areas. Physical energy comes first. All the other energies are linked to that. So I do begin with that, and probably my background in fitness very much has me hyper focus on that area. So I believe that when you begin by elevating your physical energy, you have more, well, everything's linked to that. So we begin with a focus on nutrition, and I know that's an area that's kind of missing in the world of physicians. First of all, there's not a lot of focus on that in medical schools, but we know how many diseases now and how many disorders are linked to people not being aware about what they're putting into their bodies. Like, that's a temple. And then going into mental energy. What I mean with that is we have this incredibly, I'll have an untrained mind, because we've got this, they say we've got about 80,000 thoughts going through our head every day. So, that can drive you insane, and most of them are negative and repetitive. So what I like to help people do is help them to begin to control that monkey mind, I call it, and through different things. So meditation, or creating more stillness in their life, becoming more aware of the judge or the saboteur that goes on in our minds, becoming aware of your belief systems and programmings that we've had since childhood. And then with emotional energy, we're emotional creatures. So everything that we feel, that we experience in our world, that comes in as stimuli, we experience emotionally. So that's just scientifically proven. So it goes through the limbic brain, gets process there, and before we can even begin to make a choice, we have to process that emotion. And a lot of us don't know how to do that, and there's some really cool techniques. Emotional intelligence is one. And then there's spiritual energy, and that's an area that I'm, especially over the last year, I'm getting big time into. When people hear spirituality, that can take on many different forms. It can have a religious context if you want, or it doesn't have to. It's about, that meaning and that sense of fulfillment, and that sense that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. I would like to be creating personal growth initiatives for physicians specifically, creating initiatives where that might take the form of a lot of group work with physicians. We are also creating some initiative next year, and this is specifically going to be focused and targeted towards physicians, and the whole concept is alive. How do we begin to feel more of that, or help physicians feel more of that? You know what? Again, you have to be wanting to do this work. You have to be curious about it. This is not about pulling you in and convincing you, and this is not about there's something to fix and there's something wrong. I always say it's about taking you to the next level of living. So that's going to be really cool. My email is angela@focusedenergy.biz.